Time is running out. Calling all patriots and lovers of our constitutionally protected, God-given, self-evident, inalienable rights in Tennessee and the United States of America. If you are sickened by the liberty-eroding activities of a government that hates you, then it is time to wake up. If you are fed up with the tyrannical leadership on display by all levels of government, now is the time to listen to your reveille call. If you are equally tired of the political class, the new aristocracy, lying to you in their pursuit of power and control, now is the time to take a stand in the arena. Please welcome your host, Larry Linton, U.S. Navy veteran and candidate for Tennessee House of Representatives, to the Liberty, Leadership, and Lies podcast.
Welcome to the Weekend Update, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned in a couple of blog posts, there are some programming notes I need to share with the audience about the schedule for this podcast. Both of those programming notes can be summarized as follows. This will be the final weekend update of the show for the foreseeable future. The regular schedule of the podcast will not resume until next Friday, the 18th of November, and then we will resume the regular rotation with a topic of liberty that day. That's right, new episodes will be released every Friday morning, vice Wednesday morning. I am making those two changes to better utilize my time for show prep, as well as getting a couple of new projects going that I will let the audience know about as they mature. There will also not be any new episodes produced during the month of December. I'm going to take a break to recharge the batteries that month and also enjoy the holiday season with my family. I may re-air some previous episodes or share some historical recordings during the month. But once again, there will not be any weekend updates after this one for a long time, or maybe even forever. Season 3 of Liberty, Leadership, and Lies with Larry Linton will kick off on the 4th of January, 2023. Now, on to some news. If you do not find it strange that there are some counties and states across the country that are still counting votes from the last election day, then you are not awake. Somebody on social media captured it perfectly with just one question. And this question should start the critical thinking needed to see just what lengths the usurpers will go to in order to silence the call of freedom in our republic. The question is this: can someone please explain how the third largest state in America, that would be Florida by the way, how the third largest state in our country, which parts of were devastated by a hurricane about a month ago, how can that state count 10 million ballots in 2 hours, but it takes medium-sized communist-run counties 5 or even more days to count a few 100,000 votes? Or what happened to the news reports prior to Election Day that it would take days, even weeks, to determine the outcome of the governor's race and the Senate race in Pennsylvania? Because we know that wasn't the case, was it? Pennsylvanians apparently elected for their governor the guy responsible for the dramatic increase in crime in that state, and let's not forget, they elected the hunchback of Notre Dame as their senator. If you think the winning strategy for elections in this country is higher crime, record high inflation, higher taxes, and protecting other countries' borders and not our own, well, I've got some sweet oceanfront property in New Mexico to sell you. Some of these elections were probably close to being reality because of weak candidates, but for the most part, you and I know exactly how the so-called red wave petered out. The tidal wave was broken on the rocks of corruption and cheating. Until we completely get rid of machines that can be manipulated or that quote-unquote break down on Election Day, we will never have a secure election in our country again. I don't care how successful Florida was in their election, I guarantee you that there was some fraud built into that one as well. We will deal with weak candidates in another episode, but when it comes to elections in our nation, we are doomed. We even had some questionable stuff happen here in Tennessee, despite the fact that the Heritage Foundation ranked Tennessee number 1 on the election integrity scorecard, something that politicians across the state loudly proclaimed. That scorecard only looked at one aspect of election integrity, legislation governing elections, not enforcement, not machines, just legislation. We have discussed that before on the show. Go back and listen to episode 60 again where I break it down. We will be discussing election integrity much more in this program in the coming year before the 2024 election season kicks into high gear. Like it or not, folks, our election system is crap and it is rife with fraud. It needs to be fixed, or there will no longer be a political solution to our republic's problems. Until next Friday, this has been the final weekend update of Liberty, Leadership, and Lies with Larry Linton. I pray you all have a wonderful weekend and a week ahead. Stand in the arena with me. Reveille, it's time to wake up.